We did a show yesterday, so I just wanted to do a really quick show today, because there have been some developments in the Israel-Palestine conflict. And what's been happening is the entirety of the axis of resistance has been pushing back against Israel hard. And we are awaiting a lot more developments this weekend, because unlike the rest of the world, usually what's been going on is in the weekends is when things really start heating up. And Israel has begun their on the ground invasion of Gaza, but they have been facing a series of setbacks because of majorly Hezbollah. We've seen Yemen, of course, participate in strikes, but Hezbollah has been resounding in their retaliation for what was done to Gaza and what is being done right now, as we talked about the refugee camp that was completely destroyed, right? And so I want to start off by talking about Lebanon, but the Ministry of Health of Gaza gave us the toll so far of the Israeli strikes and bombing so far, and it's probably up since this has been up today. It was up earlier today. 9,061 people dead, including 3,760 children, 2,326 women, and over 23,000 people wounded. And when you look at the wounded and you know that the hospitals are running out of fuel, they don't have any more beds, they're running out of supplies, a lot of those wounded will become dead, unfortunately. So these aren't just numbers, these are people. When we say these statistics, remember that these are human beings. Now
1.5 million displaced too, fam.
Yeah, can't forget that one, right? 1.5 million displaced, and you have nearly 2.5 million people in the small strip of Gaza that are either going to die or be continuously bombed like they're being, and because they don't want to be displaced further. So the Al-Qassam brigades have been bombing Tel Aviv, also in response to the massacre against civilians. And I don't know if I put it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I have one video, but of the Hezbollah announcing that they are targeting these Israeli areas. Now, they said they were going to target 19 of them, specifically military sites. And this is along the Lebanese and Palestinian border. So if you want to play this video, it just shows a little bit of what they attacked. And if you can cue it up and play it. So this is also, you can go to the Times of Israel and you'll see them talk about this. Basically, these rockets, these are resistance rockets that they say are Hamas rockets, right? But they came from Lebanon and they landed on this settlement called Kiryat Shmona. And Israel says that because of this, they're now retaliating with this wide-scale airstrikes on Hezbollah in the southern part of Lebanon. So what we've been seeing all over the news is that the resistance factions, especially Hezbollah and others, have been retaliating endlessly, and they've begun using drones. For the first time, they've been using drones to target Israel. And that, I think, is huge because it shows, obviously, Palestinians aren't alone, but also shows that this could get bigger. When we talk about Iran, Israel and the United States have both tied Hezbollah to Iran as well. Not just Lebanon, but they're saying that Iran has been supplying these weapons to the Palestinians. And now we're even hearing that North Korea is supposed to also supply rockets and ammunition to the Palestinian resistance. So this is clearly getting out of hand a little bit, and it's clearly getting to the point where there's going to be decisions made that are going to have to be made, and I keep saying this, by Russia and China specifically in terms of if this escalates further. We've also seen Saudi Arabia say that they are going to allow Israel to place weapons so the U.S. and Israel, so they can defend Israel from these rockets coming in from Yemen and the resistance. If Saudi Arabia does in fact do this, that really puts a dent in a lot of things, because Saudi Arabia and Iran had already were working towards having relationships. Now, this is also involves BRICS. You had Syria and Saudi Arabia as well. That would really leave BRICS where you have conflicting views, because the majority of BRICS countries are not pro Israel or pro US, or if anything, you can say some are neutral, but the vast majority of them are definitely trying to stay away from this part of the world. So there's a lot happening on the ground that is going to affect the geopolitical relationships. This is not just a sidelined conflict in Gaza. This is so much more than that. This is why those who support Israel were never just going to support just Israel. They were going to support war against Iran, war against Syria, war against all of these countries, and potential world war, because this is getting out of hand.
Do you think that at the end of the day, there is a reasonable solution to all this whatsoever? If the Israelis hate the Palestinians, and the Palestinians, I mean, like that, what they try to do is they try to project Israel's behavior on top of Palestine. Oh, they want to kill us. They want to kill all the Jews. Well, right now you're bombing and currently killing them. But if the Palestinians cannot get along with Israel, what do you think the logical solution is going to be? Because we know that Israel is not going to vacate that land. And then trying to force them to live together, right? That's going to be another hard situation. Isn't it going to have to, at the end of the day, whether it be something that we all really regret, it's going to have to take the Palestinians to actually leave their homeland and relocate somewhere else? I mean, I know that's when we're talking about right versus wrong, we're talking about actual justice. That's the furthest thing away from it. But at this point, I don't want to see them getting slaughtered, because now they're acting up shit in the West Bank. And it seems like they're going to want to do this whole ethnic cleansing at one shot. And of course, I don't want to see ethnic cleansing, and I don't want to see them leave their homeland. But if I had a choice between ethnic cleansing and genocide and them being able to live somewhere else, I would say let them live somewhere else. Don't you think it's going to have to come to that?
A lot of people don't want to live somewhere else. They don't want to. They know they will never get back any sort of land. They'll be the ones that are displaced. They'll be the ones with no, land. I mean, that's up for the Palestinians to decide. But from what I've seen, a lot of people, don't want to necessarily be displaced. It's this fight again. It's a fight for existence. It's an existential fight against Israel, and it's not that Palestinians can't get along with Israelis; it's that they're being murdered. There's no getting along. That. It's not just So there's no. You can't get along when people are trying to kill you. So what is the solution to this conflict? Is forcing Israel and Palestine to live in a one state type of country, to going back to the orders, either going back to the borders and giving Palestinians what they took, which Israel won't do, or forcing the unification of the entire thing, which would force them to live side by side. However, you would have to completely that entire government would have to completely be devoid. I mean, you've seen the Israeli government and the Israeli media and the Israeli people. Somebody said, I thought the United States was the most propagandized country. Actually, it's Israel. The majority of the people there have these negative feelings against Palestinians. And the government that imposes these rules is responsible for that, by and large. Of course, this is not about Israel only, though. This is about the United States. It's not just about Israel doing this, right? Israel obviously has this ideology, this belief, this Zionism that's there. Sure, the United States and Britain use that and weaponize that for their own military interests. So you can't just get rid of Israel. You have to have accountability on the United States and on the governments of like the British government that had a hand in all of this. And you're right, that's not going to happen overnight. I mean, you know, these people are never going to hold themselves accountable. The entire world has to hold them accountable. What is the solution? You know, that's the question. What is the solution?
Thing is that let's be, it's not about right or wrong. If it was about right or wrong, like you said, the world would have to hold them accountable. There will be some change. But look where we're at today. You know, the West keeps doing whatever they're doing, despite even the majority of their citizens saying it's wrong. They don't care about us. I think a lot of people realize that too as well. So when I'm saying this right now, I'm actually thinking about life and trying to present a solution or think about a solution that will keep the Palestinian people alive. I know at one point the Zionist movement was thinking about going to Uganda. Maybe the Palestinians can relocate to Uganda just to keep alive. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. And it shouldn't be that way. They should be able to exist in their home, but we have to be realistic at this point right now, and I'd rather see them alive than slaughtered, and that's all I'm saying.
I think a lot of people are underestimating the Palestinian what Palestinians are doing and the involvement of the resistance factions as well, because this has just gotten started. This on the ground operation, and yeah, there is a lot of death, but again, they see this as martyrship, right? Like you're fighting for the cause of this. I don't see that they're going to just give up and move. I just don't realistically see that happening on their end because of what it means and the significance of what it means for them. And so, unfortunately, I do think we're going to see a lot more death until Israel and the United States really make a move to stop and to actually have some sort of negotiation. They're not going to stop. The Palestinians are not going to give up on this. They're just not, because it's so much more significant than that. And again, what we're not hearing from Israeli media is the fact that you're seeing a lot of hits. Israel take a lot of hits. A lot of their tanks are being destroyed. A lot of their giant weapons are being destroyed right now by Hezbollah. There's a few of the Israeli politicians who are saying this has been a sad day with sad losses, but the media isn't amplifying that because they want to still make Israel look like they're, like they got this. And I mean, I think before that happens, this conflict is going to get eerily close to World War III scenario, because we already have Syria's involvement, we have Yemen's involvement, we have Iran's involvement, and we have Lebanon's involvement. And this is a fight to the death in many cases. And the United States troops are reportedly already in Israel. So what does that mean, right? Like if we have U.S. troops in Israel, the United States can't take itself out of that. They're supplying money, they're supplying weapons, they're now supplying troops. So how is it that, the question becomes, oh, well, the Palestinians can just leave? And if we're hearing that North Korea might supply weapons to the resistance, that this is like, we're talking like how many nuclear countries involved now over this thing, right? It's scary. It really is. It really is scary. Fam, I do want to point out this letter again, just along the same lines. There was a letter from the leadership of Soraya al-Quds, the military wing of the PIJ, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and they issued a letter of thanks to Hezbollah, who sent a letter of support and readiness to assist the Palestinian resistance in Gaza yesterday. So there's the letter. Okay. And it was just a letter saying, thank you so much for the support, right? This is a letter of support after everything that's been happening in Gaza and everything that everyone's going through. So